Hi, the Brisbane Broncos are 13-9 after beating the Knights 46-12, locking themselves into a final spot and putting them 2 points outside the top 4. And this Dean Mariner put down is kind of the game in a microcosm. Mariner gets the ball down on a postage stamp's worth of space, his entire body in the air after he's leaped from a full sprint with a man tackling him. Bradman Best, who's 103 kegs of muscle, no less, and he manages to get it down, and it's just a case of, cool, good try, Dean, and that's where the talent level is in the league nowadays. You see a try like that maybe once a week. It even went up as a try. Even Todd Smith was capable of recognizing, like, oh, this happens all the time. On the other hand, a man flew through the air and was struck by a human missile, and it meant nothing. There's only one space available for him to put it down, and that's exactly where he put it. He even puts it down before taking out the corner post, so it would have counted in any era. Even 5 years ago, that's a trailer season, and now it's just, well, cool. Bring Dally Messenger back to life, and he'd be like, how many Star Wars movies did they make? And you'd have to say, Mr. Messenger, you passed away in 1959. How do you even know about Star Wars? Then you'd show him that try and he'd be like, why do all the players have tattoos? And then he'd see the try and return to the afterlife out of pure shock. And now it's just try number 7 for Mariner this season. At least the Knights ball boys appreciated it. And that's the same as this game. Yeah, the Broncos won. They were supposed to win. They were against a vastly outmatched opponent. They scored 5 unanswered tries in the second half, but let's not let joy be a crumb. Let's appreciate the fact that every member of the back 5 scored a try and ran more than 100 metres. Mariner topping out the list with 252 of them. Mariner, Walsh and Karapani were all insane getting out of the Broncos' end in this game. Karapani's try comes off a huge left step, and then the whole team starts trying to impersonate him for fun. Then maybe they got a little bit lost in the sauce, in the joy of it all. They got off to an absolute flyer in this game. On the third tackle of the game, they go through the hands looking for Sheba and end up scoring in their second set after a Haas offload let Hunt set Staggs up for an easy one, with early gains in that set coming from good runs by Walsh and Walters. Tackle 5 in the next set, Walsh gets the ball on his own 30 and throws a 2-man cutout to spring Staggs, showing their intent to go for it early, then proving it by running the backline play for Karapani on the first tackle after the set restart. And after scoring 8 points in as many minutes, they let off the gas a little and started giving away a few dumb penalties. Hunt then has a kick bounce long, then Walsh kicked the ball out of bounds on tackle 4 for 2 sets in a row, the first at least being an attempt to get Mariner into space, the second being more of a case of, I don't like what's going on in this set, it's over. But the Knights couldn't really do anything to take advantage of the opportunities that the Broncos gave them. Adam O'Brien spoke post-game and said that it can be difficult to get guys into the game when you've got to worry about them not being able to do the simple things. He said they've got guys that are still learning how to tackle and how to pass. And while that sounds a bit ridiculous and a bit rough coming from the head coach of a professional team, the Knights actually have guys who can't tackle and who can't pass. And the longer the Knights held the ball in this game, the more likely they were to commit an error. And I know that AOB is a much maligned coach who may not keep his job for much longer, who, with his team at full strength, still runs an unsophisticated playbook with the whole just bomb it to the fullback on 5th tackle with no chases thing, but the Knights lack basic execution in this game. They ended up with 14 errors, which is better than I thought it would be. Complete only 26 of their 40 sets and missed 55 tackles. James Schiller and Jermaine McEwen both missed 10 tackles each. 2 easy runaway tries bombed in this game too, maybe 3 if you count the Dom Young drop at the start of the second half, and Knights remain a Jacob Host organisation. Key error being the ball from Schiller to Jake Arthurs, which ultimately kicked the Broncos back into gear. But at times in the first half and in periods in the second, it was almost like the Broncos were playing some kind of challenge mode for a while. Take the batteries out of the controller and let the CPU do its work on easy mode. Just try and bring a bit of competition into the game, because that third try was so easy for them. And it's controversial for the fact that Walsh gifts Hetherington a milestone try, which is a bit of a G-up for me, and probably not something you do 30 minutes into the game, maybe the 70th minute, but what should be more controversial is that there's not even a Knights player in frame to stop it from happening. Run the play back, Carrigan calls this one when Tolte's taking the hit up, he puts Walsh, I think, into position, and the Broncos start on the right tram line, Walters at first receiver with Paddy and Kobe either side. Walsh swings out the back, reads the defense, and sees Hunt has a mismatch against Schiller and Arthur. He holds the ball up maybe half a second to have Schiller think that he's going to play long to Sheba, which he's done pretty often, and Schiller takes the bait and runs out. He also has Karapani lurking in the shadows and probably could have just run himself. It's more proof that when you think you've got Walsh worked out, you don't. That's the beauty of this split action play. It gives Walsh all the time and space to work out what he wants to do and so many options. Hunt, Shibasaki and Karapani are all passing threats here, or he's a threat himself because he's got the ball in a 5-on-4 and no one could tackle him in this game. 13 tackle breaks for Walsh. That play has worked for years and it's been reliable this year too, but at times it's a bit telegraphed. Teams started sniffing it out earlier in the season and realized that if you just put all your effort into jamming Walsh, it could potentially be shut down, so the decoy runs by Hetherington and Carrigan do a good job of selling it, and by the time the ball's in Walsh's hands, it's over. The Knights finished the half with a nice try to Thompson, which was a combination of the Broncos letting the Knights up the field through a dumb penalty, the Wind picking up a short dropout that ended up going 30 instead of 10, and then a set restart, and a nice kick by Crossland. And really, 3 easy tries and 1 unlikely one, making it 14-6 at halftime. There's not too much to worry about, except that they've had trouble this season finding the batteries to the controller after they've taken them out. Think the Dragons game, where they went into the sheds 12-4 after scoring 2 easy ones, then conceding 3 tries when the Dragons were down a man and losing. It's the kick back into gear that's that's been the issue. And they were definitely trying to open the second half the same way they did the first. The Knights gift them a scrum in the opening set, and Walsh immediately runs just at one of the Knights' 3 good players, that being Bradman Best, who takes him out of bounds. But the error doesn't stay long in his mind. The next time he touches the ball, he runs 40 metres and breaks 3 tackles, and that turns into the Mariner try we started with. And I have to say, I really don't mind Billy trying to get Haas through on 5th tackle here. And when the play breaks down and Haas gets the offload away, this ball from Hunt is wild. Staggs does a great job to catch and pass, and then the insane put down by Mariner. Then the Broncos are back to player 1 has disconnected. Knights bomb a chance to Young and score a bizarre try when the ball hits the dirt and they manage to make something from the chaos. Then when Arthurs fails to make it a 4-point game, that was the kick that they needed. And I know the Knights are awful, but a 4-point game on Old Boys Day at 2 p.m. at McDonald Jones, that's bad news. Anything can happen then. What happened next, though, was the pumping that everyone expected. Broncos locked back in and put this thing away. I absolutely loved this try to Haas, the sheer gravity of Carrigan and Haas at the line, both running at Jacob Arthur. I'm saying that name a lot, and I'm not done. But Jacob hits Ben Hunt basically as an avoidance tactic that he did something, and Paul Pierce pooed his pants is on all fours watching Haas run away from him. You can see Hunt setting this play up on the tackle prior, and Hunt basically ends up running the decoy for Haas. It's great stuff. 2 superstars and a veteran halfback in his 350th game doing a 3-man weave. Payne Haas just another kind of beast in this game. He scores a try, runs 232 metres, 79 post-contact, breaks 2 tackles, offloads 3, 30 tackles, none missed. Haas also spent some time in the second half of this game trying to prove a point to Todd Smith how long every player that tackles him is allowed to hang around in the ruck, compared to literally any tackle Carrigan makes, which is a set restart if Carrigan isn't back on his feet within 1.4 seconds. It's not a conspiracy, it's a fact. Then there was the big Walsh run. They're not exactly set up in split action. It's a bit of Carrigan getting into his office. Hunt holds up the ball long enough to get Walsh one-on-one with McEwen, and he's away. Still has a job to do to beat Gagai, but it's a young man's game, Dane. Fun thing from this weekend, both Broncos teams scored 46 points against the Knights, and both fullbacks scored runaway tries past their opposing fullbacks. 2 rhyming tries there from Walsh and Tamika Upton. I will talk about the W team eventually, but there's still like 3 more tries from this game. There was the Sheba try where Karapani made some great meters, then put in the kick, which Walters managed to recover. James Graham, answer for yourself here why Tyson Smoothie had no idea what to do in open space, but Billy smelled blood in the water, and look, I regret to say it's Jacob Arthur's blood, and he's failing to make another tackle. Really nice ball from Billy, another great game from him. I mentioned the Falcon only because Falcons are always funny, and also we've seen when Walsh has the ball, literally every other Broncos player is the target for a pass, so hands up next time, Bill. Comment which applies equally to Carrigan. First try for Sheba since he was called up for Origin, which isn't really a big deal, he's still been defending at an elite level, but I like it when he scores. Since Jesse Arthurs was playing off the bench, they took Jaden Hunt off, who acquitted himself very well, and put Sheba into second row at the end of the game, and I would like it if Jesse Arthurs knew the rules, but it did mean that Walsh was able to throw this absolute bullet to Dean Mariner for his second try. Basically, all of this game is let Walsh do what he wants and prosper, and this is him just toying with them. Mariner is probably the least likely recipient, considering he's flat next to Sheba. Billy and Karapani are both unmarked behind, but you know what? Throw the flat ball as fast as you can, sure. The final try is a bit sad, first because if Kobe Hetherington is going to be gifted a try for his 100th game, they have to find a way to get one for Ben Hunt, and they don't manage it. And second, because this isn't even defense by the Knights, who have just blown another opportunity to score themselves. Sheba gets the great steal and springs Mariner, who makes it all the way to the Knights' 30. On the wide shot, you can see Hunt running for the wing, which is a great veteran move. After a break like that, the Knights barely have enough blokes back to cover the middle of the field, let alone the wing. He's running with Staggs and wants it, but doesn't get it. Then he pushes Ricky out of dummy half, and I swear he's setting himself up here. Let Ricky take a hit up, have 2 defenders struggling to get back into marker, then scoot and boot it into the crowd for a try in his milestone game. But it's not needed, because in the time it took me to say that, Ricky's already gone over. Ricky's been playing some good footy recently. I've especially liked his runs early in the tackle count. He's been handy at those, and he's probably been owed a try a little while. Everyone around him scoring, and he got blue-balled at the end of the Eels game where he almost scored the game winner. Hunt's only credited with the 1 try assist for this game. I'm assuming the first try, but he should get another for this try and also the Walsh try. Turns out putting a representative player with huge game nous and surrounding him with talent produces good results, and he's been great in the 7. Hunt's been sneakily great defensively as well since he came back from injury, but when he rushes out of the line to shut down plays in the 7 jersey, it's just way more noticeable than when he's just crunching dudes at 9. I should also confess he's my favourite player, and I have a poster of him in my office, so take it with a grain of salt when I say everything's in its right place with Hunt at 7. I don't want to say anything bad about Reynolds, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't make me feel a little bit better having a Queenslander in the number 7. At the end of the day, there's not much more to take away from this game. It's encouraging that the team can find a way to get out of second gear and turn it up when they've already turned it down, when they've slowed their roll and let the other team get back into it, and then got sucked into a game that they couldn't win. That comes after they win a game where the other team put 2 quick tries on them. They're learning. All right, ticker gutless index. I want to give super ticker to Dean Mariner. I think that he was great in this game. Then it seems hard to do that and not also give Walsh and Carrigan and Walters the same credit. Walters just loves diving on a loose ball, and that's a big ticker indicator. So let's put a golden box around those guys. I don't think anyone was gutless. Jesse Arthurs was ineffective, but not gutless. He just doesn't understand how to make a ball go out of bounds. We learned that from the Manly game. And the rest of the bench were all great. Shame Tolte didn't score. 3-2-1 for best on ground. It's a split between Walsh and Haas for the 3 points, and I think it has to go to Walsh because he was just too dominant. Haas gets the 2 points, and Mariner 1 point. Honourable mention to Staggs, Hunt, and Karapani, who all play good games. Anyway, that'll do for another week. Cowboys next, top 4 with it.